Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here with ScrapbookPal. Thank you so much for joining us for a new card making video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some fun new press plates from Pinkfresh Studios. So they have a new collection here that is so pretty. I'm going to show you how to make some quick and easy replicatable cards. So this press plate is called Favorite Things Sentiments, and there are coordinating dies to die cut out all these sentiments. And these are going to be used with the BetterPress system from Spellbinders. And then we have the square floral frame and coordinating die. And I'll also be showing you the round floral frame and coordinating die. Now, I just love that these have coordinating dies to cut them out. It just makes them so much more fun and many more ways you can use them. So I've got my cotton paper here. That's the specialty paper from BetterPress. I have BetterPress ink in Wild Berry, and I'm putting that square floral frame down onto my BetterPress system. It's magnetic, and this plate is really easy to center there between the lines, like the hashtag lines, the square that says A2, and the grid marks. So I'm going to ink that up before putting the top on with that Wild Berry ink. This is specialty ink made for the BetterPress, and it is just like thicker, and it's very similar to archival ink, so it's going to be permanent on there. And then once that's all inked up, I put the top piece on with my paper taped in place inside the lines that say A2, and then run that through my die cutting machine just as it is. And that's going to press the plates together, and the BetterPress plate system is going to allow that to press into the paper. It looks so cool. And while I have this on my BetterPress system, it's really easy to go ahead and make multiples. And so that's what I did. I did 2 with the pink, and then for the round, I'm going to use Cosmic Blue or Cosmic Sky ink in this really pretty blue color. I really love it. It's nice and bright. So once that's inked up, I'll do the same thing. Put that top platen down with the paper taped in place, and you can see how it presses into the paper so nicely. All right, then it's time to move on to our sentiments. So you can see I can arrange quite a few sentiments here inside that A2 size square. I'm going to use tawny brown ink for this, and then I'm going to run this through just as I've done before. And I made 2 pink and 2 blue of my floral pieces, so I decided to do 2 sheets of this so I could make a total of 4 cards. So there you can see I've got the thank you, and then I've got your kindness means so much, and some sub-sentiments that I can put with those. So once that is all ready to go, then I ran through my second piece, and then it's time to start doing all the die cutting, because remember, all of these press plates have dies. Now, something else I wanted to point out is that you can use your archival cleaner to clean off your BetterPress plates and the little platform there, and you just want to put that cleaner on, let it set for a second, and then wipe it off with a cloth, and then you might want to do a baby wipe to get any residue off. Okay, so these are all ready to be die cut with the coordinating dies, so I'm just going to tape those into place and then go ahead and run that through the die cut machine just as I would normally die cut, and that does not have any effect on the image that is pressed into the paper. See there? Gorgeous. Cuts them out so nice, and bubble cuts around all of the sentiments. So very pretty. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces die cut out and ready to go. I then glued my sentiments on, and then I put a second die cut on the back of those frames to make them a little bit more sturdier, so they'd be like raised up off of my surface. Now I'm going to create some backgrounds for these. So I picked out some oxide inks that would go well with the BetterPress inks that I already used, and so that was the picked raspberry for the pink, and I'm going to do just a really simple ink blending. Especially if I'm making multiple cards, I want to keep the background pretty simple. So I'm starting with my ink at one end and working my way towards the other end, keeping it lighter as I go, not adding any more ink. And this is just going to give me kind of an ombre look, and I really love this effect where it fades almost to white. So that's going to be my background, and you don't have to worry about getting this super perfect if you're going to do the next step, which is to splatter it with water. So I'm going to take my spritzer and just spritz down over the top of that, let it set for just a second, and then pick up any extra liquid there with a paper towel, and you can see I get that nice watermark look. And then I'll take the same stamp pad and push that down onto a window sheet, get it wet, and then I can flicker and splatter on some of the colored ink as well. So that's what I'm going to do, 2 pink, and then for my blue backgrounds, I'm going to do Salty Ocean. This seemed to match really well. So I'm going to do the same exact technique. So starting at one end where I'm using a heavy hand, keeping it nice and dark, and then just letting the blending tool do the work for me as I work my way towards the other end of the paper. I have less ink on my brush, and that's going to allow it to fade out to white, and it looks so good. And you can do this as many times as you like if you want to get it a little bit darker, a little bit more saturated, but I find it's pretty easy to do with a well-inked pad in a couple passes. So once that is done, then it's time to spritz with water, and you can see the reaction here with the blue is just as awesome. So I'll set that paper towel down to pick up the excess, and it looks great. It's so much like ocean. Okay, then we'll flicker on the same color of ink there in the Salty Ocean, and those are dry. You can see what they look like, all dead and ready to go. So once I laid this on to my background, I decided I'm not really in love with the brown ink. So I decided I'm going to try something different. I'm going to ink those words up again with white ink, and I picked out some coordinating cardstock from my stash that I thought would go well with the colors of my card, and I'm going to do some embossing. So inked this up, and I decided to remove that real quick and add some anti-static powder before I actually ran it through my machine, because I didn't want the powder to go everywhere else, just only to stick to those images that are pressed into the paper. Now, one thing I will notice, and I haven't done too much of the embossing with my plates, but it kind of made an outline of the letters, especially the larger words in this set, where it almost looks like the middle of the letter is open. So you might notice it looks a little skippity. That's just this particular plate, as far as I can tell. I decided to go with it anyway. It kind of added to like a shabby chic kind of look, but I really like the colored cardstock with the white ink against the white cardstock with colored ink look. It really helped those sentiments to pop more so than the brown ink. So I just stuck them down over the top, and it worked out good. It gave them a little lift, and so I'm really happy with the change that I made. And sometimes that's what happens when you're making cards. As you're going, something just kind of takes on its own direction. So had to just go with it. So I put my sub-sentiment down onto a piece of vellum that's about 1 inch wide and wrapped that around that card front ink blended panel, and then I added the floral piece above that and added this to an A2 size card, which is top folding. So it's 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches, scored at 5.5, and I glued all of those together just as I showed you with the first card. And then I pulled out some like enamel dots from my stash, and tried to find some that matched my colors pretty well, and just added some embellishment. You could embellish these with anything that you have in your stash. Even some like clear gems or pearls would look great, or something white would be really fun too. So that finished off my cards. I think these are really nice to have on hand, just having some quick and pretty thank you cards ready to go. And the BetterPress is a great way to make multiples of one card, because it allows you to easily do your next piece of paper, because that plate is already like magneted onto the platform. You just add a new piece of paper, ink it up, send it through. So I love it for making multiples. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back again soon with a new video right here on the ScrapbookPal channel. So feel free to subscribe, and also come find us on Instagram and Facebook too. We'll see you then. Bye.